Founded in 1992, the J-League was established to revitalise professional football in Japan and to create a competitive league structure akin to those in Europe. They did an 100-year vision. They aimed to create 100 professional clubs by the year 2092, the 100th year of the J-League. The league also encouraged the clubs to promote football to the local community for sponsorship and to build strong relationships throughout their hometowns. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, the league expanded both in terms of the number of teams and its international profile. This introduced foreign players and coaches to help raise the overall quality of play, and has been reflected in Japan's success at various World Cups, particularly in 2002, where they co-hosted the tournament and reached the round of 16, further boosting interest in football domestically, leading to increased support for J-League clubs. So the J-League has grown massively over the last 20 years. It's getting really exciting this season. So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 reasons you need to watch the J-League. Number 1, competition. So, since the J-League was founded in 1992, there have been 12 different champions in 20 years. That's quite impressive, Harry, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very impressive. It's a very competitive league. It's a very combative league. And unlike most leagues we see across Europe and across the world, it's one of those where you could look at it pre-season and go, anyone could win it.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few different challenges for the title this season. Probably, we hope Kawasaki Frontale will be back. They had a difficult season last year, but still they're a good side. Yokohama F.Marinos will be up there as well. Again, they're a side that are steeped in prestige. And Vissel Kobe, of course, the champions from last season. But there's also sides like Urawa Red Diamonds, sides that could really challenge this season, despite maybe not having the same resources as those sides at the top. So the competition's there. I also think the gap between the sides at the bottom of the league and the sides at the top of the league is not as large as it is in other leagues, like the Premier League. I think that the J-League, anyone could beat anyone on their day. It does feel like that when you watch the games. But also, on that 12 different champions, the Premier League at that time has only had 7. The Bundesliga has had about 1. So, because no one on the bar ever wins that. So J-League, in that regard, has a huge advantage because there is so much competition. You never know who's going to win the league. You never know who's going to win the games. Very, very interesting stuff. And as I say, it's going to be a good title fight, we hope, this year. Vissel Kobe are probably favourites after winning it last year. We could see a return for Kawasaki Frontale, Frontale haven't really done a lot in the last 2 seasons, but still a good side. And then Yokohama F.Marinos as well. I think those 3 will be there for the title, but there'll be others that can compete as well. Number 2, the games are free to watch. So, not every game is free to watch on the J-League, but they have a large amount on YouTube. So, 4 matches for every game week are live free on YouTube. That's incredible. Compare that to the Premier League, where you can't watch a single game of the season for free. I think that's a brilliant initiative. It means that fans from international audience can really get involved. And yeah, we'll definitely be watching coming this Friday. I'm excited for it, Harry. You glad the games are live on YouTube?
Yeah, no, it's nice. I think it's very easy to get into a competition that is free. Realistically, if it's behind a paywall, am I going to go out of my way to spend my money and I might not even enjoy it? Maybe not. But with this, it's free to watch on YouTube. You can give it a go, see if you like the football. It is very good anyway. But to have that option to watch it for nothing makes it very accessible to everyone, and I like that. And
it's opening the league up to an international audience, which so many leagues struggle to do. The Premier League have nailed it, really, with pushing out everywhere. But I think the J-League could really push. Their goal's always to be the biggest Asian league, to be able to compete with the European leagues. I think it's doing very well at the moment to push up. I would say the J-League is probably in the top 10 leagues now in the world. It's definitely one of the stronger divisions out there, and given the fact you can watch it for free, I think it's only going to grow in popularity because people can watch the games. Nice little thing to wake up to as well on an early Sunday morning, Saturday morning, Friday morning as well. 6 a.m. kickoffs, 9 a.m. kickoffs. That's the kind of thing that we like. So yeah, 136 out of the 340 matches will be available for free. It's for a weekend. Very, very good stuff. Number 3, you can see some of the stars of the future. The emerging talent in the J-League is incredible. Now, you've only got to look at the success stories coming from the J-League into Europe to know how quality these players are. Names like Takefusa Kubo, Kaoru Mitoma, and Takehiro Tomiyasu, just to name a few. You could go on forever looking at practically everyone that's played for Celtic in the last few years. And yeah, so there's loads and loads of talent that's moving across now into Europe. The J-League is producing so much, and that's part of their initiative. Their initiative from the start's always been to develop young talent. Now, I picked out 5 players that I think you need to watch out for this season in the J-League, because that seems to be the theme in this video, 5 of everything. And so we're going to run through them. First of which is Sota Kawasaki. He's a 22-year-old central midfielder playing for Kyoto Sanga. Now, they're not one of the stronger teams in the division. I think they're top half, but they're not one of the stronger teams in the division. However, Sota is incredible. He's a high activity in midfield, very energetic, loves to get about, aggressive presser. He's very much that Conor Gallagher-esque midfielder. I think whenever you watch him, so much activity, very persistent, relentless, not scared of getting a card, but still a brilliant player, loves to press, plays at a very fast pace as well. And I think clubs in Germany and Austria, players in leagues where the play is very, very quick, he'll be very suited to that. So I'm sure they're going to be vying for his signature soon. Another central midfielder up next then, it's Kuryu Matsuki. He's a 20-year-old central midfielder for FC Tokyo. Harry, have you seen much of Matsuki?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of guy you want to be on your team. This is the kind of guy that you look to and you go, that's the guy I like to see. You know, he's not giving up. He's always wanting to get that ball. He's going to, he gives it everything he can on the football pitch. And that's a big thing for me. You know, that's very captain material. He's a big leader. And saying he's only 20, that's a big thing. Yes,
he was captain of the Japan under-20 side, and that's a big thing, of course. You want to be leading your national team in those youth levels. He competes for every ball. He's sharp, and he's very good at progressing that ball, very good at moving it forwards. I think he's going to be a stand-up star in the J-League this season. Only 20, that's high praise for Matsuki, but I think it's warranted. And FC Tokyo, I think will be quite strong with him in their midfield this season. Up next, we have Koto Take, the 19-year-old centre-half for Kawasaki Frontale. Again, he's very different to a lot of the players in the J-League. The J-League's average height is very low because the average height for people in Japan is very low. But at 6'3", he towers over everyone else.
Corners, what a weapon.
Yeah, but despite that, he is quite mobile. Now, he might not be the quickest, he might not be the fastest at tracking back, but he can still move. He's very good at getting across and making tackles, very good at getting across and winning the ball in the air, because if the ball is in the air, he's going to win it. So he does have that to his game. He also reads the game really well. He's a strong physical presence at the back there. And yeah, I think he's a really great young developing centre half. Again, that's what the J League's so good at, producing so much young talent. And like everyone else in the league, his technical ability is incredible for a centre back. Very good with the ball at his feet. Very, very good player is Koto Take. And then up next, we have Riku Yamane. He plays middle field for Yokohama F.Marinos. He's only 20 years old. Now, the story with Yamane is quite interesting because he broke through about 2 years ago at 18, playing for Kevin Muscat, who people may recognise. Obviously, the Australian central midfielder was a bit of a journeyman throughout his career. He's now taken his hand to management, and he was with Yokohama. He was the guy who replaced Ange Postecoglou. So Ange Postecoglou obviously won titles there. I think they won 2 on the bounce. And then in came Kevin Muscat, and yeah, he's really taken Riku Yamane and turned him into the midfielder he is today. Now, Marinos, they didn't win the title last season. A lot of people were disappointed by that, but they'll be looking to come back and fight again this season. And yeah, Rico's going to be huge for that because he is a very good player. He's great on the ball, really clean touch and sharp awareness, so he's very good at playing on the half turn. If he receives that ball, he can play it anywhere. He knows what that next pass is going to be. And since the J League is such a high tempo, fast paced league, he's a really useful player to have in there. But that's not all he brings to the game. He's also very comfortable receiving from centre half, so he can drop in there, receive the ball and then play out. And he's very tenacious and nimble as well, which is quite a theme, I think, with a lot of the players in the J League. A lot of them have a lot of technical ability. I think that is personified in Riku Yamane. And then our final shout is Junpei Hayakawa. Now, this one's a bit more of a gamble because he is only 18. He's only made 3 starts last season. So he's not played a load of football. He's playing for Urawa Red Diamonds as well, who aren't one of the stronger teams in the division. However, if Junpei could have a huge season, he could definitely lead them up the league. So the teenager, he can burst past defenders really, really well. He's got incredible pace, and that makes him incredibly dangerous. And yeah, he's very good. Quick little combos as well. Can get in behind with that pace. It's very useful to have in this league. And yeah, very good in the counter-attacking phase. If they can spray the ball, get the ball in behind quickly, he's going to get on the end of it because he's absolutely rapid. Now, I do think he needs to work on his finishing a little bit more because he strikes the ball well, but doesn't get enough goals or assists yet. So that's definitely something he needs to improve on. But when we talk about emerging talent as well, it's not just players in this league, because as we've seen, managers as well are developing in the J-League, then coming across to Europe. And Sota Kawasaki being a prime example. Kevin Muscat would have been if he hadn't gone to the Chinese Super League to get minted. So, as we saw with his career, that's what he likes to do. So, we're seeing managers develop over there, as well as the Japanese national team manager, who's still he came through obviously managing at Japan, and now is the national team manager, and that national side has been very, very successful, getting through to the quarterfinals at the most recent World Cup.
Yeah.
And they've been very consistently getting into that knockout phase since they were joint hosts in 2002.
And that's the thing, and it's not like you look at that most recent World Cup, they didn't get an easy run. These kind of managers, these kind of players are taking the game to some of the biggest nations in the world. Yeah. And where are they coming from? They're coming from the J-League. It's where it all starts.
Well, they've done so well, Japan. They set up the J-League in order to make their national side more competitive, and it seems to be working, because as they've set it up, their national side's gone from strength to strength. And I mean, I'd back them to pull off some sort of major international tournament. Obviously, they've won the Asian Cup before, but could they win a World Cup in the next sort of 50 years? I think definitely. We've never seen an Asian nation win it before. It'd be brilliant to see Japan do it. Number 4, technical quality. Now, the technical quality, as we've mentioned with a lot of the players in the emerging talent section, is very high in the J-League. If you look at the football that Ange Postecoglou plays, or you look at the football that the Japanese national team plays, it's very technically good. The passing's incredible, the movement's very strong, and Japanese clubs, this has all come because they've invested in the youth. Now, this was a huge thing that the J-League wanted to achieve, was getting clubs to invest in youth, to build up these brilliant academies and develop talent. And they've done that really well, because they've got huge development programs, attracted talent players from around the world. I think that we've seen now Japanese players come through the J-League and go abroad, and I think we might start to see the other way around now, where young talent in Europe sees Japan as an option in order to raise their profile, and then they head back into Europe after a few years playing in Japan, where they suddenly look like a better player. So I think that's what we'll start to see. But yeah, and the league's emphasis as well on possession-based football and tactical discipline has contributed massively to it gaining this reputation as such a high technical league. And yeah, it makes the football very good to watch, because if the technical quality is high, naturally it's going to be better to watch. You don't want to watch football where teams are constantly making mistakes and falling over the ball. You want to watch it where that technical quality is incredible. And yeah, do you think it's a good league for that? Do you think the technical quality is high in the J-League?
Yeah, no, and as you say, it's very, very nice to watch. And because you're on a football pitch, you can, there's 2 ways. You can outwork a team by just constantly running past them, or you can just outplay a team by just knocking the ball between them. They can't keep up, and that's what the J-League does. Some teams just cannot stick with it. That's why Japan do so well, because other teams just lose track of where the ball is. They play it so quickly. But as you said, that's exactly why the young players are going over there, and that's another thing that can contribute to the J-League, is if, say, you've got Premier League sides who are going to want to be loaning out their young talent over to the J-League to improve, then you get things like parent clubs going on. That's going to help the structure of the J-League, that's going to help the investment and everything like that. So overall, being so technically gifted as a league overall is a big positive.
Yeah, you mentioned their parent clubs. Of course, Yokohama F.Marinos are owned by the City Group as well, which, obviously, they own everyone. But yeah, and also we speak about technical quality. It's even going down the leagues, because if I remember correctly from last season, there was a team, I believe, in the J3 League who were playing this really interesting football. They conceded a lot of goals, but basically what they were doing was using their goalkeeper as in the situational back three. So what they'd do is he'd push up, sit in between the two centre halves, and they conceded the most goals in the league, but they'd scored the most goals in the league, and they were up there fighting for the title. So yeah, it's very interesting to see those tactical innovations and revelations coming from the J-League, because it is such a tactical league.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see, because if you go to England, right, the Premier League's good, but as soon as you get in the Championship, it's smash it long to some English massive 6'2" bloke and see what happens.
Never seen Boaz Myhill coming between the centre halves. But yeah, I like that technical quality is going through the leagues. It's always been part of their plan. The J-League's 100-year plan is to have 100 professional association football clubs by the 100th year, which would be 2092. They seem to be going about that very well at the moment, so they'll be keen to keep that going.
You got to remember, this hasn't been around forever. It hasn't been around for ages. This is still an emerging and growing.
Same year that Premier League came in, the J League was invented. Before then, there wasn't really much professionalisation in the Japanese top flight. They've brought that in order to improve the quality, in order to make it more watchable.
And it's working.
It definitely is working. Number 5, the cultural experience and club identities. I really like the fan bases in J-League. They're full of passion, full of huge support, and it's because of the J-League's initiative. They wanted clubs to engage with local communities and to rebuild around their hometowns, and it's created a real die-hard spirit around the clubs. If you think about other leagues that have tried to, or other countries that have tried to build a league, let's take MLS, the Saudi Pro League, the Chinese Super League, they all focused on players. But that's not been the focus of the J-League. The J-League has always been, we want fans to care about the league. We want fans that are going to invest in the league. And that's the difference. That's why the J-League has become as big as it has, because the focus has never been on attracting £1 million players to come and play for them. It's been in developing young Japanese talent for the national side and getting fans on board. The Japanese fan culture now is huge. Everyone in Japan seems to love football. It's grown huge. But why wouldn't you? There was such an untapped market there. It was so smart from the Japanese football authorities to introduce the J-League, to professionalise the sport, and to make it one of the arguably the biggest sport in Japan.
Yeah, and I think obviously some people might sit here and you might be thinking that community events are being nice to the fans. That's all wishy-washy. Just because in England you've got to throw glass bottles at each other and try and knock each other's heads in, but they still have that. It's still a very passionate
it's very
atmosphere,
passionate.
And, they still care for their clubs. Just because they're not trying to knock each other out doesn't mean that they're not passionate and want their team to win.
Yeah.
I quite like it because it's a nice community. Like it's a nice atmosphere at the games, but it is that edgy, tense, passionate kind of game that you want to get.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere could best be described as vibrant. It's very colourful displays and stuff like that. I think the community feel is, you really get on with other supporters. There's a real community feel around your club. But obviously there are still huge rivalries and there's huge differences between different clubs. So I've just noted a couple of examples. Urawa Red Diamonds and Kashima Antlers are two sides who always have huge fan displays. Great tifos. If you think like Borussia Dortmund, for example, and their tifos, it's that kind of stuff that we love to see. And then clubs like Yokohama F.Marinos and Gamba Osaka are quite well known because they really embody the spirit of their towns. And that's what's always been wanted, really, for the J-League, is to embody what it means to be from Yokohama. Now, if Yokohama's a name that is familiar to you, it's because they also make tyres. But that's the first time I'd heard of them. But yeah, it is a huge town in Japan, and yeah, they are a club that really embody the spirit, despite the fact they're owned by CFG. They're not like all the other city clubs where actually they don't have as many fans, or like the Red Bull clubs. They are quite a well supported club. And yeah, they're a very good side. So overall, the J-League offers not just high-quality football, but also a window into the rich tapestry of Japanese culture and society.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. They have their rivalries, but together, I think all the fan bases combined kind of create they represent the actual nation of Japan very, very well. I think Japan has always been known for being a colourful and vibrant nature. That's represented in their football. And I like that. I really do.
But also, there's always been Japanese people are very known for their respect. It's always very respectable.
Yeah.
You think of them in World Cups. Another thought, not just their brilliant football that comes to mind, is the fans. The fact they stayed behind during their World Cup games to clean up. The fact the players left the dressing room completely spotless. I mean, that's incredible stuff. And that level of discipline, not just on the pitch, but also throughout life in Japan, I think benefits these footballers, because it's not about like lumping into people and getting red cards. It's about playing the game and playing beautiful football. So I think the J-League is set to really explode. I think it's going to grow even more internationally, especially given the fact it's free to watch, especially given the fact there's a lot of competition there. And I think as people grow disenchanted with the current how football's going in Europe, where it's all about chasing money, all about that, I think a lot of people are going to turn to the J-League, where it's more about that fan culture, more about the players on the pitch and the football than it is just money. So I think the J-League is set to explode. There's a load of players that are really talented, and I hope we've convinced you in this video to watch the J-League, because I haven't watched much of it before, but reading up on it, seeing other people talk about it, it's convinced me I'm watching every single game I can this season. So I'll be up 6 a.m. Friday morning. I don't even know if the 6 a.m. game's live on YouTube. If it is, I'll definitely be watching it. But yeah, I believe it's Urawa Red Diamonds kick off this campaign. I'm not sure who against, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting season of the J-League. You should definitely watch it. But that's everything from us today. Harry, have I convinced you to watch the J-League?
I mean, yeah, it's perfect time. Season starting.
Exactly.
Watch this video. Give you as much information as you need to know. Give it a watch.
Exactly. Get hyped up for another season of the J-League because their 2024 campaign starts this Friday. And yeah, hopefully it's another good season of Japanese football. But that's everything from us today. If you want to keep watching, there's going to be a video covering Harry's face right now. So you can give that a click and keep watching our content. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.